What's up, guys? It's your boy Randolph, the Black Angus Monday. I told you guys I was going to do a video this morning, a little bit of backstory about myself and a little bit about how Angus Power came about, and also how I decided to continue powerlifting at the age 39. Okay, so I'm not sure where to start here at, but anyone that knows me, I like to bounce around up and down, and I try to keep it on track the best way I can. None of this is written down. It's strictly off the top of my head. So first things first, I was born in Gary, Indiana. And when I was about 5 or 6 years old, me and my mom moved down here to Florida in a small town called Avon Park, aka City of Champions. They call it that because we had two state championship football teams in '87 and '88. So really big names that I could probably name on there that you guys may know, but we'll talk about that some other time. So I was raised in Avon Park, Florida, and I also attended Avon Park High School, and that's where I first saw powerlifting, I guess you can say. And powerlifting is a little bit different in Florida than it is in Texas or some of these other states. Texas consists of, 3 lifts: the squat, the deadlift, and also the bench press. Well, in Florida, we do weightlifting, consists of 2 lifts: the bench press, the clean and jerk. So that's when I was introduced to weightlifting pretty much in 9th grade. Played football all 4 years, started varsity football for 3 years at Avon Park High School, Avon Park Red Devils, that is. And high school was a pretty good time for me. Now, let's go back a little bit, tell you a little bit about my character and why I'm doing what I'm doing. Probably going to have a couple of family members that's going to be upset with me, but that's okay. I told you guys I'd give you some backstory. So, when me and my mom moved down here to Florida, we moved in with my stepfather. I'm not going to give his name, but moved in with my stepfather along with a stepbrother. And then later on, my mom also had my younger brother, who is, I think he's 33 now. All 3 of us played football at the same high school. I played, my stepbrother also lettered in 2 different sports, basketball and football. And my younger brother was also the quarterback for the Avon Park High School, Avon Park Red Devils. Growing up in my household, considering that me and my mom moved from Gary, Indiana, my father, obviously my biological father, lived in Gary, Indiana. And I'll say it like this, growing up in a home where you have 2 brothers that are, I guess you say, descendants of my stepfather, and me being the only person with the only boy or the only child without a father, without his biological father in the house, I guess you can probably understand it was kind of hard to feel a part of something or feel a part of the family, I guess you could say. That was very, very tough. Also, my mom went through a lot of, from my perspective, I'm pretty sure the other 2 boys would tell you different, but from my perspective, my mom went through a lot of emotional and psychological abuse. And seeing that as a young guy, living with a stepfather and biological father being in Gary, I pretty much, all I had in the household was my mom, okay? And my mom was absolutely great mom, absolutely great mom. She supported me through all of my sports, helped me as best she could with my schooling, the best that she could, considering that me myself being dyslexic, also having a learning disability still have a learning disability, and my mom also have a learning disability. We really grind a lot for my grades. But nevertheless, that was a tough thing with for a kid coming from another state and moving into a house in a place where he didn't even feel connected with the family that he had in the house. That was pretty tough. So I found refuge, if you would say, in Avon Park football team. A lot of people don't know that when I was at Avon Park, pretty much the high school is where I found family at, along with a lot of the coaches, a lot of the football players that to this day that I don't talk to a lot of them, but a few of them I do talk to, and but the coaches were pretty much my father figures. Those were the people I looked up to. Those were the people that really made me feel a part or made me feel like I was part of something. That's my daughter's cat. So I took to Avon Park High School and Avon Park's football program very, very closely. I pretty much, to this day, if you guys see the videos of me wearing my red Avon Park hat with an A on it, Avon Park runs through my blood deeply, very, very much so. And like I said, a lot of great coaches. Just to throw a few names out there, Coach Donald Hickman, who was my offensive line coach as a freshman, and as a freshman also defensive line coach Dwayne Council, defensive coordinator Coach Cousins, and the late Jamie Turner, who was the athletic trainer. And also I have to say that I continue to stay in touch with them as much as possible. But anyway, went on to play college football. College football wasn't all that great because, again, didn't feel a part of the program where I was at. Did my very best. Never ever had any bad grades in college. Really worked hard even though I had a learning disability. I actually made Dean's List my freshman year at Grayson University. That's where I attended school at. And like I said, I didn't finish. And the funny thing is that that embarrassed me for quite some time because I felt like that I should have completed. I felt like I was supposed to do something great. And coming back home without completing college at Grayson and actually finishing out the my football scholarship there, I felt defeated. I felt unaccomplished. I felt, I guess, the only thing to really say is worthless, pretty much. So then I actually came back to my high school and continued coaching there for about 3 or 4 years, where I actually messed that up too also. I was about 22 years old when I started coaching at Avon Park High School. And I made a stupid college boy mistake, which was I made a statement to a young lady about her butt, and which is not funny at all, but I made a statement about her butt, said something about her butt, or excuse me, let me get that right, because I want the record right. The young woman said something about my butt, and I said something about her butt, and then it turned into a big ordeal. And just a young mistake, and that actually took me out of my dream, which was to be a coach at Avon Park High School, finish my degree, and possibly take a school that did so much for me to a state championship. Well, that dream was gone. So then I had to make a choice, and I decided to go into juvenile corrections. Did that for about five or 6 years, I think it was, and went on to be a plant manager at a dairy feed, believe it or not. So I learned a lot about cows, learned a lot about how to feed cows, and worked on a dairy a few times. So I did quite a bit of things that was not in my dream, I guess you can say. So let's go ahead and fast forward because a lot of crap happened between there as far as just working regular jobs and just trying to take care of my family, because I actually, that's a pretty funny story. I was told that my daughter was conceived when I was at work, and I ended up hanging up on my wife because I was like, oh gosh, like I'm not I'm not where I need to be, and I'm about to have a kid. So that's what I actually changed careers and went into becoming a plant manager and working in a dairy feeds. And, like I said, pretty good job because I just did what I had to do to take care of my family. And at the right time, too. Also, was a correction officer for about a year, which was very enlightening to me about society and how this world is, and just how things are done. So, like I said, let's go ahead and fast forward. Right around that time, I went into a very my wife actually had her her mother, her grandfather, and her grandmother, all within like about 5 years. So my wife went into a very, very deep depression. I went into a very, very deep depression, and we just were not getting anything done whatsoever. We were just pretty much stagnant. And I went on to make another mistake, and that was allowing, thinking at the age 35 that I was still young, wasting time, going off in the streets, and basically turning my back on my family, my wife, and my kids, and thinking that I was, thinking that I could continue that particular young life. A woman had actually stepped into the mix, which, I mean, I'm again not saying any names, but that situation absolutely obscured my mind completely. Just absolutely destroyed my family. We were on the verge of separating and moving in our different directions. And I, luckily, I didn't allow the darkness to go, take me too deep, and nonsense take me too deep, and I was able to slowly pull myself back, and I decided to move back into my house and my family because I refused to live like I let my daughter live the way that I did. I refused to do that. I knew it was time for me to step up and do the right thing, stop doing the nonsense that I was doing. I'm not good, like I said, I'm not going to go into anybody's fault or anything like that. I just got to take responsibility for what I had did. So I decided to try to turn my life around. It was still slow, still stagnant, still, trying to pull myself out of that particular hole. Finally, when I did come out of the hole, I remember sitting, in my car, just trying to figure out, like, what am I going to do? And so many things I can, oh gosh, so many things came to my mind. First, it was a book, and then it was to go back and get my, get down. Sorry, go back and get my certification or degree or things like that. And so many different options, so many different things just started popping up in my head. And I went to the coach from Avon Park High School this past year. He calls me on the phone. He's like, hey, Monday. That's my last name. Hey, Monday. Do you want to coach? And I got excited, and I got excited because I was like, man, this is the opportunity. So I went back, excited, coaching the offensive line at Avon Park High School, and come to find out that the incident that happened when I was 22 years old at the age 39 is affecting me. Now, don't get me wrong, guys. I don't have a criminal record. I'm not a sexual offender or anything like that. It was just words exchanged, and obviously in their policy and procedure, they chose to say that I could never, ever return back to that school to do anything there, work or be a coach. That was an absolute blow to me. It knocked me down. This was about a year ago. It knocked me down to the ground really, really bad, to the point where I just did not know what to do at all. My wife said that my demeanor went down immediately. She said the happiest she ever saw me was when I was coaching for Avon Park High School. And here it is again, it was taken away from me. So what I decided was, I said, okay, well, these people said that they didn't even want to be affiliated with me at all. And little did they know is that I had a daughter in the school system, and I'm sorry to say, but the school board is going to be affiliated with me until my daughter graduates. They have to be affiliated with me. But that also drove the idea when they said that I would never coach again. I refused to take that. And I said, you know what? I'm going to show these people. I'm going to coach again. And you're going to want me to be affiliated with you. And also, sorry, darn cat. I said, you're going to want me to be affiliated with you. Because I knew how good of a coach I was, and I knew how good of a coach I wanted to be. So, nevertheless, I'm sitting here brainstorming again in the car while I'm at work. And all of a sudden, I'm sitting there, and I just started thinking about football in the past and things like that, and what I wasn't accomplishing and what I didn't accomplish in my life. So I said to myself, I said, man, it just popped in my head. And I said, you know what? Man, you got to get this right. You the Black Angus. You the Black Angus. And the name Black Angus actually comes from my football days. And I'll tell you how I got that name. I was sitting on right before a football game. The late Coach Turner, who passed away a couple of years ago, he walks in the back door. He looks at me and he says to me, "Hey, Randolph, come here. Come in the coach's office." And him and Coach Cousins are looking at each other. He goes, "Me and Coach Cousins are going to start a wrestling team, and we want you to be called the Black Angus." And he said, "We're the Beef Boys." So when he said that, I was like, the Black Angus. Didn't think nothing of it at the time, but I found myself drawing pictures in school of a black bull. At first it was the ram's head, the Dodge Ram head with red eyes, and it always had to have the Avon Park next to it because that's how much Avon Park meant to me as a player. And so it always had the Avon Park and my number at the bottom of it. So I was drawing pictures of bulls all the time. And so it kind of stuck with me. And my mom would hold up signs at the football game and stuff like that. Black Angus also gave me the nickname, the Earthquake, and all that stuff. But Black Angus stuck with me through college. Black Angus stuck with me through pretty much majority of my life. I just remember Black Angus. People, even some of the football players that would see me now, "What's up, Angus?" So that name stuck with me. And so as I'm sitting in my car at work, I'm like, "You're the Black Angus. Man, you're the Black Angus. You anchored this. You can do this. People count on you. And so I just kept messing around with the name and the Black Angus. And I looked around, social media and, the fitness community. I noticed that, Midwest Kong, he had an animal identification. The Hawk had an animal identification. A few of the other ones had identifications of animals or different types of characters. So I said to myself, I said, you know what? You Randolph the Black Angus Monday. Simple as that. And so I ran with that name. And it still hadn't become a business name yet. It still hadn't become Angus Power Athletics yet. And so one day, me and the family, we went to the mall, and we were hanging out. I think it was just picking up some school clothes or something like that. And I started, at the time I had started talking to a gentleman out of Dallas, Texas. I'm not going to say his name, but I talk about him and I post a lot of his stuff on Instagram, Arch Lifts. I had been talking to him for some time, and, come to find out he was a tourist, and it was kind of strange how I was, sporting the Angus bull, sporting the Angus bull, and he was a Taurus, and so it was funny how that connection had made itself, and so anyway, I'm talking to him. He's a business guy, and I'm talking to him about some things, and he tells me one day, he's like, "Hey, man, that's a cool name." And then I met a guy out of California, L.A. He also has not a label, excuse me, a brand called Ant Plate Bully. And I was listening to his story and some of the things that he said he was doing to try to make his dreams come true and all that stuff. And they really motivated me talking to these two guys. And so as I'm at the mall, he's telling me, hey, all you gotta do is, I told him I wanted to keep my name. I said, so I made a domain for the name, Angus Power Athletics. I made a domain so the name could not be taken. And it was my name. So I was happy about it. And I actually came up with a domain name right away, paid for it, everything, and I contacted Coach Cousins. Now, this is where it gets kind of shaky for me, because when I contact Coach Cousins, and I'm like, "Hey, Coach," I was proud because I finally did something. I was finally headed in the right direction, with my life, and doing something positive instead of something stupid and negative. So I say, "Coach, man, look at this." And I sent him a picture of the domain, and he didn't respond back. And I'm like, "Coach," he said, "What is this?" I said, "This is my domain name." I said, "Coach, I'm using the name." And he's like, "Hey, buddy, I'm sorry." He said, "But I don't remember that, buddy." And at that moment, when he told me he did not remember that, it put things in perspective for me really, really quickly. It put time in perspective. It put my age in perspective. It put a lot of things in perspective for me. And I could not believe that he did not know what I was talking about. But also at that moment, I said to myself, it wasn't for him to remember that. That day that they gave that name was for me and for me to use only. It wasn't meant for them to remember it. It was meant for me to remember it. And it hurt, actually. It hurt. But then I actually texted him back and I said, "Hey," I said, "Coach, you know what?" I said, "Hey, I'm almost 40. So I can't be upset with you, And you think about that, 40 years old. I'm almost 40 years old. And that name was given to me when I was 17. Think about that. 17 years old, that name was given to me. So everything was put in perspective at that time. And at that moment, after talking to Arch Lifts and talking to the owner of Ant Plate Bully, I made a decision that day. I'm about to do this, and I don't care what's going to stop me. I don't care whatever tries to stop me is just going to get pushed out the way, and I'm going to do this, no matter what. I am Angus Power, and so the more and more I spoke to Arch Lifts and Plate Bully and all those guys, they were talking to me about things I could do and do this and do that, and this could work and that could work. The more and more confident I got about Angus Power Athletics. And believe it or not, the name Angus Power Athletics was something that I didn't even think of, not athletics. The part of athletics actually came to my wife. She said, "Why don't you call it Angus Power Athletics?" So that's what made me decide to go ahead and call it that. Now, you have to understand this time of me returning back to powerlifting after 4 or 5 years of being away, dealing with nonsense with a woman and not being a family man. All I remember is 2013, where we saw Hawk Smash, and we saw all of those big names, In Town Monster, all those guys. And I knew, and in my heart, I felt like I had a short time to perform. I felt like I had a short time to gain notoriety for myself, and not necessarily for myself, but for the business Angus Power Athletics, because what I'm doing is I'm using my body to. I am my first athlete, okay, and also Arch Lifts is also another athlete of Angus Power Athletics. He'll be doing a video soon of a few items that he has already received from Angus Power Athletics. But I'm trying to be, I told him not to do it quite yet because I want to make sure that I'm locked in and everything is going in the right direction, which it is. So, these darn animals. I got a crazy cat. But anyway, so making sure that everything was going in the right direction. So here we are now, you know, after I've came up with the domain and I've also moved in the direction of making Angus Power a business, I had to figure out what I wanted to do. And right away, coaching. Go get the certification. You know, coaching is number one. Powerlifting coaching, weightlifting coaching, Olympic coaching. This is stuff that I know. So right away, coaching, because I wasn't going to let anybody tell me that I wasn't going to coach again. So to this day, right now, I mean, there are young men who ask me for advice and things like that around the area. And also, weightlifting has become very downplayed in my area. There's a lot of things that I learned from Arch Lifts and Ant Plate Bully that I did not know. I did not know there were schools out there that are powerlifting schools. So there's a lot of knowledge that I got going through this whole situation, as you know, that y'all see me now, about powerlifting I didn't even know about. And so I'm able to give this information and try to bring back weightlifting into my county and my area, and you know, other places that it seems to have died down. And it's actually died down all across the country for some reason. You know, it's not as big a sport as it used to be back in the days. And I feel like powerlifting and weightlifting is something that's very, very important. We're no longer physical like we used to be. I remember back in high school where, you know, even football and basketball, you can tell in the sports that weightlifting is not a huge, powerlifting is not a huge deal. And then what I mean by that, I just spoke to a coach from the middle school around here, and I told him, I said, you know, it's no longer physical football anymore. What you see now is you see a lot of guys who you give it to the best athlete and say beat him around the corner or make a move. Where, you know, back in the days it was line it up and let's see if your man can beat my man and who was the strongest, and it made a big huge difference in the outcome of the game, who were stronger. And I felt like powerlifting was a huge deal in football. But I noticed that it was dying down in my area. So I just wanted to find a way, how can I bring back notoriety to the sport again. Yes, there are a few powerlifters that I've heard of that's around my area. They're not really as vocal as I am, or I haven't seen them. I'm not going to say they're not. If you are watching this and you are from the Highlands County, Florida area, please follow. I mean, jump in, let's talk, let's collab, and let's conversate, let's live together. But I wanted to bring it back, and I also wanted to regain my throne as a coach in Highlands County. You know, and do things, you know, to for myself and my goals. And I have personal goals too. And my personal goals are, I wanted 2 state records in the bench press. 2 state records. Looks like that might be changing a little bit because it might be going after a deadlift record or something like that. Because equipped lifting is very expensive. But nevertheless, I have 2 state records I wanted, and I also wanted to bench press 500 pounds. And I'm pretty close. I'm pretty close to both of them. December 10th, 2002, which is next weekend, I will be hopefully setting a state record for RPS, Revolution Powerlifting Circuit. And hopefully soon, I'll have my first client. I've already touched some bases with some people who are interested in my coaching and my knowledge of powerlifting and lifting weights, period. So I'm going in that direction. But so in other words, guys, basically, Angus Power Athletics, I have a vision for it, but that's pretty much how it came about. Powerlifting has always been part of my life. Weightlifting has always been a part of my life. It's always, ever since I was, 5 years old, going to preschool, everybody always saw me picking up heavy stuff. I always said I was going to be strong. So that's why I chose to go this particular route. And ever since I've been back in the powerlifting circuit and doing my thing here, my health has gotten better. My wife say I look better. My daughter is a lot happier with me. I'm able at 39 to actually get on the basketball court and play with my daughter now. So she's really, really happy. And things have just been really, really going up and up and up. And like I said, meeting great individuals, and Arch Lifts is one that I'm absolutely blessed to have met. Plate Bully is also another one matter of fact, Plate Bully, he's on Instagram too, and he's awesome. At Plate Bully, at Plate Bully, he's on Instagram. He's awesome guy. Has drive like crazy. I've never seen something like this. The things that this man does to get things done is amazing. So shout out to him and Arch Lifts. And also get a shout out to Midwest Kong for taking the time to conversate with me. And also giving a shout out to M-Town Monster. These guys are way up here as far as notoriety and what they're doing with their weightlifting. But nevertheless, they never look down. They never looked down on me. They reached out and they talked to me. They like I'm on their level, and I can't ask for anything better than that. It's really true when they say to you, when you speak it and you come with a positive vibe, things are going to come to you. And I'm really blessed to have those guys in my corner. I'll make sure I'll leave those Instagram tags in my in the comment section or somewhere down the bottom, so you guys can go check them out. But pretty much, that's how Angus Power came about. And Angus Power has some great plans. I'm not going to reveal all of those just yet. They're here. They're there. I got my whiteboard ready to go. So, it's going to go in a great direction, and we're going to have some great positivity, and we're going to try to, reach some people and teach some people. Like I said, there's a lot of great things coming from it, not just weightlifting. You guys will see. But, if you have anything you want me to do a video on, maybe something, the questions I might have left out that you may have questions about, please leave it in the comment section. I have no problem answering them whatsoever. But thank you guys for watching. I hope that gave you a little bit of insight of who I am and why I'm doing this. And, I guess I'll catch you guys later. Peace.